I've unmuted everyone, and if anyone has a question, please try and sit still. Does anyone have a question they'd like to ask?
I have a question, Stuart. The conversation yesterday about lower level thoughts and emotions, it was really interesting. And I've heard you talk about taking these thoughts and emotions and burning them in our hara. And I had a two-part question. One, is that something that a student can do who hasn't fully cycled energy through all seven chakras? And two, what does that look like? Because I've heard it talked about, but I don't understand the technique necessarily.
Every time you sit down and meditate, it's the prime thing you should be doing, is transforming. It doesn't matter how developed your chakra system is. The use of the will, the use of your need to grow, the use of the double breathing exercise is literally, the purpose of it is to transform the blocks and the tensions in you that are keeping you from having a spiritual life. So every time you sit down to meditate, you're doing that. That's the purpose of the meditation. Meditation, as I've said at least 1,000 times, is a craft, and it's a craft that is used to do exactly what I'm talking about. So it's not like you have to get a fully developed chakra system, to do what I'm talking about. You do it. You just do it. You use your will, you use your mind, you focus in that chakra below the navel, you draw those lower emotions, even the higher emotions, you draw them down, transform them into chi, into energy, harmony, balance. And, second part of your question, what does that look like? Well, I don't know how to answer that. I mean, you just do it and it becomes living experience. It's not that it looks like a certain thing that happens inside everybody. It's different for everybody. But you do what I'm talking about, and suddenly there's a power inside you. There's an energy inside you. There's the ability to overcome the obstacles in your life. And there's also another thing, there's more quiet inside a person. There isn't all that anxiety, that tension, that the thing that kind of motivates most people in life, and in many ways is the fuel that they run their lives on. It's just tension. That all gets subdued. It becomes part of, the chakra below the navel, the chi. So what you have instead of all of that tension is harmony, balance, rootedness, foundation. And it isn't something that looks like anything. It's something that is. It just is, because you have used your craft to make this thing possible. I mean, we live in a very, video type world. Everything has to be projected as and look like something. But I don't know what a spiritual life looks like. I certainly know, well, I shouldn't say I certainly know. When I am, living that way, it's an experience that is so valuable. And it's such a great treasure to live that way in my daily life, that I have nothing but gratitude for the years and years of work I put into myself in order to attain that. And it's not just in meditation, it's whatever you do. So I don't know how to project an image of what this looks like. I think I have just projected an image of what this looks like. And it's just a state of being that you attain because you do your inner work. And then life changes for one. We have more security. We're not looking for things that are transient as security in life, which was what most people do. They think the next house, money, their marriage, the relationship, the car, the this, it all represents in their brain security. The only security I've ever found in life is a connection with God. I don't know who's sending chat messages, but it's really not a very good thing to do in the middle of a meditation class. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, Chikor. Do we make a conscious choice, the energy that we bring to the hara, that we open to into the hara? Do we make a conscious choice about the flavor of that by what we desire? Like if I desire peace or love or something, by holding that in consciousness, am I flavoring that energy or calling that in?
Shakur, if you get your mind focused where I'm talking about all the time, you get your heart open, you'll have peace, you'll have inner quiet, you'll have the capacity to love, you'll have, higher consciousness if you just do these things. You don't have to project these things, you just do them. You get focused, you get your heart open, you keep your heart open, get your mind quiet. I mean, as soon as you master the energy of mind, and you can keep your mind quiet, you will have inner peace. You'll have quiet inside yourself. So it's not a matter of saying, I want inner peace to your third chakra. You just bring the energy down there, you get it grounded there, and it will provide that because you have mastered all that stuff that runs rampant inside most people. We all want to be peaceful. What does everybody want in life? People want to be happy, they want love. I mean, this is really the ultimate goal of all of human striving is happiness. Why do people, they want money because they think it's going to make them happy. They want relationships because they think it's going to make them happy. They want a house, they want all these things, all these possessions they want. It's going to make them happy. The only thing that can make a person happy is they just open their heart. Open your heart. And then even some of the most difficult things in life will make you happy because you recognize them as a teacher. They're teaching you something about yourself. And there's gratitude for that. So we all want love. We all want to live peaceful lives. We all want that kind of internal drama to just kind of disappear, that soap opera that runs rampant inside people. So just master the craft. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask?
Stuart, can you talk about morality, what it is to live with or without morals?
I don't understand the question. Look, I don't know. I mean, what's the question? Do I talk about morality and stuff like that?
Does it matter if you have morals that you live by? What is that? Or is there,
What I live by is non-judgment of other people. What I live by is trying to keep my heart open. What I live by is trying to develop the capacity to live with compassion. What I live by is trying not to judge anybody. Because I've done in my own life enough bullshit that people could easily judge me. I live with a sense of forgiveness for the stuff that people do. And even today, when people do nonsense, and it bounces off of me, and I don't sit around and judge them and think what is morally right and morally wrong. I mean, there's enough of that that goes on in the world that I don't have to join that club. I can just open my heart and make room for people to live there. And if people want to come live there, they're welcome. Can love people. And I can learn from them, which is such a significant thing that is missing in most of life, learning from other people, not judging them, learning from them. And if you basically get your chakra system working, you're not gonna do crazy things to other people. And it takes really time for that to mature in somebody. It really takes time. I mean, we live in a world of seduction. Everybody's seducing everybody in this world. Every movie you watch, it's about seduction. And I mean, there has to be respect. There has to be forgiveness. There has to be truly supporting other people in their lives, being a big enough person to do things like that. And they're not to be a person that walks around with moral judgment in their brain. What's right, what's wrong. I don't know what's right or wrong. I know that I can learn from everybody and everything. And not live with revenge. So much of that goes on in the world. I'm going to get back at somebody, revenge. I mean, I think that we have to attain some level of humanity in ourselves that allows us to get past all these judgments we make in the brain. And respect people. Don't use people badly. If you don't want yourself to be used badly, don't use other people badly, because whatever you give off, it comes back. It always comes back. In my life, when I was younger, the crap that I used to, it came back. And sometimes it was paralyzing what came back. And it taught me some very profound lessons about what it means to live with compassion, with love, with a deeper sense of one's humanity and the interaction between oneself and other people. And all the crap you read, things that crazy, like people killing people in Atlanta, Texas, I don't know, some Colorado. I mean, it's part of that energy that is given off in life that attracts these things and creates these insane situations that people do. Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart, tension the main issue in the way of the open heart and the highly functioning third chakra or chakra system?
Yes, yes. Tension. Tension built by obstructions inside, built by resistance to change, by, tension. I mean, I told you that, somebody once asked Rudy, why do you wear orange? He said, well, I wear orange because it's the color of surrender. What are you surrendering? And he thought for like a second. He said, tension. It really is what eats people alive. Creates illness inside people, creates all kinds of conditions in people, paralyzes people inside. And it also creates the madness they project on the world. Imagine what goes on in the head of somebody who's going to go out and kill people. The tension inside them. I mean, the anger, the rage, it's because their whole system is blocked up. I mean, I've seen it, but in Texas, I used to teach in prisons. I used to do it in Oregon too. And I'll tell you a wonderful story that happened. There was Bob Sink knows about this because he was there, and Tom Tompkins. But we used to have these inmates that came out to our house. Oh, maybe anywhere from 6, 8, 10 sometimes every Sunday. We would go pick them up at the prison. And part of the program in the prison is you could do this. So we would bring them out to the house. One of the taboos, one of the things that was absolutely forbidden, was for any of these inmates to be caught smoking dope. If any of them got caught doing that by the authorities, they would have ended the entire program. And there was one guy, every weekend he came out to our house, I would find him in some corner somewhere smoking a joint. And I would tell him, you got to stop this. I must have told him 5 times, 5 separate weeks. And one day I'm walking in the prison yard and I meet him. I was on my way to the chapel to teach the meditation class. And I said to him, look, I said, I don't want you to come to my classes anymore. I said, you can't stop smoking dope. You do it in my house. What you're doing is going to destroy the program for 25 people that are sitting in that chapel right now that really need this work because it's helping them in their life. So I don't want you to come to the classes anymore. And he said to me, you wouldn't do this in front of everybody. And I said to him, spare yourself the embarrassment. So we walked into the chapel and I told him this right in front of everybody. You are no longer invited to come to these classes. You single-handedly are going to destroy this program for everybody sitting in this room. And I don't want you here anymore. And it's finished. You've had your chance. We're finished. He walked out of that room. Nobody said a word. He walked out of that with his head hanging, Well, anyway, the rest of the program, I never saw this guy again. Maybe 3 years later, I'm sitting in my apartment in Denton, Texas, right? And there's a knock on the door. And I go to the door, I open the door, and there's this guy standing there with a woman, And I looked at him and I said, oh shit, what's going to happen now? And he looks at me and he said, Stuart, I just came here to apologize to you. You were the best thing that ever happened to me in that prison, and I blew it. And I just had to wanted to introduce my wife to you. I wanted to just come up here and tell you how sorry I was for what I did. It was a tremendous mistake I made. It brought tears to my eyes. I mean, you never know how people change and what goes on inside them. How the tensions of the moment disappear and something new can occur for them. So I spent like an hour, hour and a half sitting with him in my apartment talking, and it was wonderful. I never saw him again, but it was really, for me, an extraordinary experience of what's possible, how you can touch people, you know, in a deep way. And then how this guy just had the guts to come up there and bring his wife to meet me and to tell me, I'm sorry. How can you do anything but love a person like that? And this was an inmate in a prison, you know? I mean, that was an incredible, I mean, those guys, you know, they were incredible. They were all muscle builders, you know, all they did in prison was lift weights. Every one of them looked like a football player, you know, and at the end of the class, they would line up, these guys, some of them with tears in their eyes, and come up and just hug me and say thank you. It was heartbreaking to experience something like that and to allow an experience like that to live inside me and to never judge people, just open to them, let them, you know, nurture them, see what happens, how it plays out, you know? You know, then there was this guy, Charlie, who was an inmate. He was, the guy used to have franchise brothels in Texas. This guy, he was an incredible guy. And he, you know, and then he was arrested for bank robbery or something. Anyway, he was like in the last year or 8 months of his term. And he was also this, he looked like Sylvester Stallone, this guy. He was really a big guy, you know, a big muscular guy. And one day I'm sitting, they all came up for Sunday and we were building a house there, very beautiful house, you know, like almost like a Tibetan temple we were building there. And, you know, a house for us to live in. And I see Charlie walking across, you know, the ashram, you know, with a carpenter's belt on. So I go up to him and I say, Charlie, what's up? And he said, Stuart, I have experience in carpentry and I'd like to just come and contribute and help out. I said, Charlie, this is something you don't have to do. I mean, you know, you come here, my guest, I don't expect you to work. He said, Stuart, I'm a man of very few words. And he was, he never spoke much, this guy. And he said, but I know carpentry, and that's just the way I can say thank you to you, you know, for what you've done for my life. I mean, I'm talking about a guy who had a string of brothels he used to run. He was a bank robber. I mean, people, it's amazing how you can touch people so deep inside themselves that they change. They can change. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And just to finish this, I'm not talking from things I read in books. It's my life experience I'm trying to share with you all. You know, from having done, I don't know how many hundreds, thousands of different things I've done in my life. And each one of them taught me something. And the most important thing they taught me was how to develop my humanity. I mean, I don't know how many of you have read that book that Isabel and I wrote, you know, From Darkness to Light. I mean, that's an extraordinary book. 160 letters that we wrote to each other while she was, you know, at Coffee Creek, you know, prison in Oregon, you know. It's an extraordinary book of how a human being went through this amazing transformation. And these letters, just one after the other, they just tell a story of transformation from darkness to light. And today she's doing so incredible that it just blows my socks away from the day I met her to how she's doing today. Does anyone have a question? Anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, there'll be a class on, what's today, Monday, Wednesday? And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. And again, if you know people that want to study and learn about this, they're welcome. And I hope you take all this very deep in yourself and let it work on you. Let it really transform those lower emotions and thoughts and into this kind of lightness of being that is possible to have. Okay, bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you,
So
Stuart.
much.
Thank you.
Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thanks.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Stuart.
It was great.
Bless you all.